Clemson has missed the college football playoff each of the last 2 years, and everybody's freaking out. And I'm here to tell you, calm down. Clemson is going to be just fine. And the Tigers are going to be in for a huge year in 2023. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you can join us today, ready to break down everything you need to know about the Clemson Tigers. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. If you want a guaranteed winning record, guaranteed money right back in your pocket, and the best customer service that any handicapper is going to give you, this is the place for you. We've beat out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 5 years, and we're offering you that service to you for one of the lowest prices in the entire country. We want you to become part of our GE Nation. We want you to win big with us. Go sign up for those picks today. Again, down in the description below. Check out our Patreon account for exclusive college football content year-round and become a member of our Patreon Wall of Fame. And send us some gear. We would love to get some Clemson gear in our background to represent the Tigers in every single Gridiron Expert video. Check out our mailing address to send us some Clemson gear or whoever your team may be. Again, so we can continue to expand our GE Nation from coast to coast. So Clemson, guys, I mean, look. Missed the playoff 2 years in a row. I know that's not ideal, right? But Dabo Swinney continues to do a phenomenal job. 10-3 in 2021, 11-3 last year with an ACC championship and an Orange Bowl berth, and everybody thinks the sky's falling. Obviously, the standards at Clemson have been risen quite a bit. It's playoff or bust, and it feels like that every year. The same way at Alabama, same way at Ohio State, and some of these other big powerhouses. But, you know, the sky isn't falling. Clemson hasn't fallen off. They're going to be just fine. And that's especially true on both sides of the ball. But we'll start on offense, right? 33.2 points per game last year. That's what the Tigers averaged. But if you listen to a lot of people, you wouldn't have known that. You would have thought the offense was atrocious. Now, granted, DJ Uiagalelei didn't play the best ball in the world, but he did what he could as he could. Definitely improved a lot from 2021 to 2022. But this year, the offense is going to be maybe 10 times better. Garrett Riley is in as offensive coordinator from TCU, where he led the Horned Frogs to a college football playoff berth last year and averaged 38.8 points per game along with the Horned Frogs. Cade Klubnik now takes over as quarterback for Clemson. DJ Uiagalelei transferring out to Oregon State. Klubnik now stepping in. Had 697 yards and 2 touchdowns last year. Played very sparingly, but did have 297 passing yards against North Carolina in that ACC championship game. Had 320 passing yards against Tennessee in the Orange Bowl, but failed to throw a touchdown pass. Still, generational talent. Klubnik's going to be great at quarterback. Will Shipley returns after rushing for over 1,100 yards and 15 touchdowns last year. Antonio Williams returns as a leading wide receiver. Clemson on offense is going to be great. They're going to be electric. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch. Same can be said for their defense. That will be one of the best defenses in the country. 8 starters are back after allowing just 20.9 points per game. Their top 3 tacklers do return, led by Jeremiah Trotter at linebacker, and the defensive line, maybe the best in the entire country. Xavier Thomas returning up front after missing the majority of last year with an injury. You got Tyler Davis up there as well. All 4 starters return in the secondary after giving up 232 passing yards per game. Clemson, always a strong front 7, stopping the run, only allowed 103 rushing yards per game. Both those numbers we just mentioned will improve, and the Tigers will be set defensively. No doubt about it. Strong per usual. Take a look at Clemson's schedule, guys. It's not bad. That's the thing, right? It's really, really not bad. I mean, there's a path for Clemson, obviously, to make the college football playoff. And let's keep in mind that the Tigers very well could have made the college football playoff last year had they not fallen to South Carolina in that season finale. If they beat South Carolina, then beat North Carolina in the ACC championship game, maybe they get in the playoff instead of Ohio State. They certainly would have had a case for it. But you take a look at Clemson's schedule, opening up the season at Duke on Labor Day Monday. This is going to be a win. Now, I know a lot of people are out there saying that Duke could pull off the upset, and Clemson certainly needs to be mindful, right? They're breaking in a new offense, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback as a full-time starter. There's a lot of questions there and a lot of things they've got to figure out. And you don't want to do that against a Duke team that won 9 games last year and returns 18 starters, including 10 offensively. So this isn't going to be an easy game for Clemson by any means. But across the board, Clemson is the better team. They got the better coach, they got the better defense, they got the better offense. And I really do wonder if Duke can eclipse 21 or 24 points in this game against this Clemson defense. So I do think the game is a little bit closer than people realize. People think Clemson pulls away late and does get the win over Duke. And we can kind of crush the talks of maybe Duke pulling off this massive upset in week 1 that will greatly shake up the ACC and the college football playoff and the college football world, period. So they win the game against Duke. They win their next 2 against Charleston Southern and Florida Atlantic. No issues there. Then it comes down to one of the biggest games of the year, Florida State. That is one of the biggest games of the year for Clemson, no doubt about it. Remember, the ACC has gone away with divisions. So the top 2 teams in the conference will play for the ACC championship game. Typically, this team in the past, years past, could determine who would win the Atlantic. But this could be the first of 2 meetings between Clemson and Florida State, if they do meet in the championship again. But obviously, with both teams having playoff aspirations, this is a huge, monumental game and comes very early on in the year, just week 4. Should be noted, though, Clemson has won 7 straight games against Florida State. 7 straight games, including last year when they won 34-28, and some would say, man, they only won by 6. People forget that Clemson was winning 34-14 in the 4th quarter of that game. Florida State woke up, got a couple touchdowns, little over 2 minutes left. Clemson recovered the onside kick and held on for the victory. So the game wasn't really as close as the score indicated. The Tigers also get this game at home. They're 91-14 at home over the last 15 years under Dabo Swinney. They had won 40 straight home games up until their home loss against South Carolina in last year's season finale. They're practically unstoppable at home. Clemson, to me, owns the defensive edge in this game over Florida State. The Seminoles are no joke, guys. No joke at all. And one could argue that Florida State actually owns the offensive edge in this game because they are loaded on that side of the ball. But I do like Clemson's defense a little bit more. I like their home field advantage, obviously. I think they're going to get this win over the Seminoles, but it will be close. I don't see Clemson winning by double digits. I don't see them leading by double digits in the 4th quarter or anything like that. I think this is a close game all the way to the end. But the Tigers do get this win, and they are 4-0, and they've dodged their first major test. After that, I think they win their next 2. They go into the bye week at 6-0. They should beat Syracuse, who, yes, almost beat Clemson last year, was leading 21-10 in Death Valley before Clemson kind of woke up, subbed in Cade Klubnik, we should add, and ended up winning 27-21. Orange, of course, have given the Tigers quite a bit of a challenge the last few years. 3 of the last 5 years, the game's been decided by 6 points or less. 6-point game last year, 3-point game the year before. So Syracuse isn't just going to roll over, especially at home. But Clemson still is the better team across the board, certainly owns the edge on defense once again. And I actually would make the argument they own the edge offensively as well. I think Clemson wins this game by at least probably 14 points, could be a little bit more. I think there's going to be a little too much for Syracuse to handle this year. They should beat Wake Forest as well. No Sam Hartman. Yes, the Demon Deacons will still be good. Yes, I never want to doubt Dave Clawson, but they get this game at home. This is going to be probably the most difficult environment for new quarterback Mitch Griffiths at Wake Forest. Can he handle the defense? Can he handle Death Valley? I'm going to say no. And I think Clemson wins this game comfortably, more so than they did last year when they only won 51-45 in double overtime. So 6-0 going into the bye week, and they get back-to-back road games to start, right? Coming out of the bye week, they got to go back-to-back road games. First one's at Miami. It's an intriguing game, right? This is one of those things that I want this to be. I want this to be like a top 15 showdown. I don't know if it will be, though. Miami has the talent, but can they actually live up to those expectations? 19 starters back for a Hurricanes team that didn't even make a bowl game last year. And it should be noted that Clemson has won 4 straight over Miami, including a 40-10 victory last year where they held the Hurricanes to 98 yards. 98 yards the entire game. I don't think there's going to be a 30-point swing. Miami should eclipse 100 yards this game. I do believe that. But there's no 30-point swing. There's really no home field advantage for Miami. But that's kind of the running joke is, yeah, it's on the road, but who cares? Miami doesn't really have that much of a home field advantage, unfortunately. There's no 30-point swing. Clemson off the week of rest should beat the Hurricanes, and I firmly believe that. Outgained them again, 447 yards to 98 last year. Then they go on the road to NC State. If there's a trap game on Clemson's schedule, this is it. This is it. Sandwiched in between the Miami game and obvious look-ahead spot to Notre Dame. This is a dangerous spot for Clemson. They did beat the Wolfpack last year, 30-20, a top 10 matchup in Death Valley, got the win. But one thing I thought was interesting, again, is that defense, guys, was so good. They held NC State to 34 rushing yards on the day on 21 attempts. 21 attempts, just 34 yards on the ground. If Clemson does that again, it's game over. Like, NC State's not even going to come close. I don't have too much faith in Brennan Armstrong solely winning the game through the air for the Wolfpack. I think that NC State's going to need a more balanced attack here. The Wolfpack certainly have talent on defense, 5 starters back, strong defense, allowed under 20 points per game last year, but will they be able to stop this balanced attack of Clemson? That is my million-dollar question. I don't think they can. I don't think they can stop Clemson's balance. I don't see NC State making Clemson one-dimensional here. If Clemson is focused, is not looking ahead, they should come in and win this game by at least 10 points, just like they did last year. So they get past NC State, and then Notre Dame. That's the big one, right? The 2 biggest games, there's a couple, North Carolina's big, South Carolina's big, but the 2 biggest games on Clemson's schedule are the 2 home games against Florida State and Notre Dame. This could be a top 5 matchup, top 10 matchup, playoff implications, no doubt about it. And last year, Clemson laid an egg in South Bend, 35-14 loss to the Fighting Irish. Could not get anything going. Notre Dame's defense and special teams was outstanding, and Clemson got the butts whooped. No other way to put it. But I think they beat Notre Dame this year. I think they actually find a way to beat the Fighting Irish at home. Death Valley is certainly going to play a major role in that. Some people are going to say you're overvaluing home field advantage. Are we? 91-14 the last 15 years at home. Had won 40 straight prior to last year's season finale. Should be 41 straight, almost. Don't think we're overvaluing anything there. And you look at Notre Dame, right? The defense is good. 8 starters are back. They allowed us 198 passing yards per game. Sam Hartman's now their quarterback. They've got a competent quarterback. Hartman threw for 337 yards against Clemson last year during his time at Wake Forest. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout for Clemson by any means, but I still actually give the defensive edge to Clemson in this game. Offensively, to me, these 2 teams are about even. I actually might even get the edge to Clemson. I think Sam Hartman owns the edge over K. Klubnik, but everything else, I think Clemson owns the edge offensively. Factor in home field advantage with that, and I think they do beat Notre Dame, but it's a very close game, just like the Florida State game. Again, those 2 games to me will kind of decide whether or not Clemson can get back to the college football playoff or not. Right now, we've got them winning both, but both in narrow fashion. Following the win over Notre Dame, they should cruise past Georgia Tech, beat them 41-10 last year. No need to talk about that. Should beat North Carolina. One of the better quarterbacks they'll face all year, of course, in Drake May, but last year they did just fine against the Tar Heels, winning 39-10 in the ACC championship game. Senior day for Clemson. Potential, playoff berth still on the line, ACC title hope still on the line. Everything's still on the line there. You don't know what North Carolina's going to be facing, but again, in Death Valley with this defense, what they did to UNC last year, I'm not too worried about it. And then South Carolina at Williams-Brice Stadium. This is the other trap game for Clemson, right? Like, it's a revenge game for them because they lost to South Carolina last year, 31-30, led 14-0, led by 9 points in the second half, and allowed South Carolina to come back, win the game. Spencer Rattler throwing for 360 yards. It was an unbelievable performance from the Gamecocks. There's no doubt about that. Very impressive. But I think that revenge is a dangerous thing. And I do think that Clemson still is the better team than South Carolina. South Carolina is a good team. Spencer Rattler is a great quarterback. He's going to challenge this Clemson secondary. There's no doubt about that. I don't think this is a blowout again by any means. But Clemson does own the defensive advantage. They can match South Carolina offensively. Clemson's offense this time around is significantly better than the offense they were dealing with in last year's game against South Carolina. Dabo really wasn't, making changes offensively for Clemson. He was very stubborn about keeping DJ Uiagalelei in the game as long as he could. And that was not just in the South Carolina game, but it was in almost every game last year. So now with a more competent offense, with a more balanced and potent offense, I do believe that Clemson can hang with South Carolina. They can match Spencer Rattler if he has himself another big day. And with everything still on the line, with a playoff appearance possibly still on the line, Dabo doesn't let his squad lose to their in-state rival again. So in a close game, they beat South Carolina. And yes, we do have Clemson finishing 12-0, undefeated in the regular season and off to the ACC championship game against maybe Florida State again, maybe North Carolina again. We don't know who it will be, but they will be in the ACC championship game. And if they win that, they will go to the college football playoff. Now, some will say that's ridiculous, 12-0. Look, maybe Clemson slips up somewhere. Maybe they do. If they do, it's going to come to Florida State, Notre Dame, or South Carolina. I don't think they're losing to anybody else on that schedule. Florida State, Notre Dame, or South Carolina. If Clemson were to slip up once, and I would not be shocked if they did, it's coming in one of those games. But 2 of those games are at home, and that plays a huge role. Because Clemson has not been as bad as people are trying to make them out to be the last 2 years. Has it been somewhat disappointing the last 2 seasons? Sure. They haven't played for a national championship the last 2 years. This year they will. The talent is there, the hunger is there, the coaching is there, everything, the schedule is there, everything has fallen into place for Clemson to get back to the college football playoff, and we believe they will be one win away in that ACC championship from doing just that. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com, our Patreon account for exclusive college football content year-round, and our mailing address. Send us some gear. We'd love to get some Clemson gear to represent in every single video. That mailing address down in the description below as we try to expand our GE Nation from coast to coast. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.